What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have Baden Page showing us his Shroom and Salsa deck profile from Nationals. You want to go ahead and
What's
introduce
up?
yourself? Tell us how long you've been playing, what you've done in the game, anything.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Baden. I go by Baden Black a lot because I just play black decks usually. Um, been playing since set 14, so not that long, but long enough to get good because when you obsess over something, you're gonna get better. so at Nats, I brought Shroom and Salsa, and that was, a very weird decision to make. But Black's not exactly in the best spot right now.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
tough meta for sure.
Yeah, I believe this was the correct choice, and I went X4, which isn't the best. But if you think about like how it went down for me, I faced Cooler Mill twice in a row with a deck that mills itself.
Oh,
So
geez, yeah.
that that's is a little rough. I fully believe I could have gone X2, and there's a mistake I made in my sideboard that we'll get into later. But the other matches I lost were losing a die roll to Green Gohan, of course, and then I got greedy with a Jiren deck and lost by a 5K combo. So
Ooh, tough.
it
What are your
it is
thoughts?
what it is.
What are your thoughts on the current meta and what made you want to bring? I mean, obviously you play a lot of black decks. You've been playing this deck for over a year, I believe. I think I remember you bringing this to Nats last year. Um,
No, last year I was going to bring it to Nets, but this
all
is
right,
kind of why I brought it this year. Yeah,
fair enough, fair enough.
yeah.
But what made you think it could do well against the Android 21s and the U7s of the world?
Well, the way I built this is to be crippling aggro on turn two, and then the rest of the time I play on my opponent's turn. It's
Okay,
very confusing to my opponent. Um, Android 21 was not something I was very worried about. U6 or sorry, U7 wasn't something I was actually worried about. The one I was actually worried about was Cooler Mill, and so that I ended up facing him twice. And the reason why is that it's you get free combo power. It has battle tricks like blue does, um, but I can still get out some pretty good early aggression as well as get a pretty decent sized cards in hand.
all right. You want to go ahead and get into the deck? Let's start with the leader. Explain
Yeah.
what a little overview of what it does, because I'm sure a lot of people are seeing this leader for the first time.
Yeah, it's not a commonly played one, that's for sure. So Shroom's also set 18 on the front side. Whenever you swing, you send the top two cards from your deck to your warp, and then you look at top five and grab any Demon Realm Race or Demon God out of it. The way you awaken is having six or more in your warp or four life or less. So self mills awakens itself, and the awaken is actually very powerful. You warp one, draw two, and stand in energy. So you still get to control what's in your warp, which you play a lot of stuff out of your warp. That's kind of what the deck does. The awakened side, you'll swing, you'll warp one from hand, then draw two. And it has to be a demon realm race specifically,
Okay.
and it has this weird permanent. Yeah, it has this weird permanent that says if a card were to go from the combo area to the drop, it's removed from the game instead. Which a lot of people hate that, but it kind of forces black to Z charge, and a lot of times you're comboing for free from your warp anyway. So it's really not that big a deal. And plus, when you're facing red, you've got like a stacked Z energy to be able to swing through explosive dance. The activate battle on this is when it swings, it's allowed to combo with one Demon Arm Race or Demon God from your warp, which includes your eight drops, which are 10k combos for free. But we'll get into that in a bit. But that's the leader.
Is that only on attack, or is that on either player's turn? You get the free combo.
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, the activate battle, is that on either player's turn?
Yes.
All right, so you get some free defense there. That's pretty good.
Which in black is pretty hard to come across.
Yeah.
So getting into the deck itself, we've got our turn one plays, which are going to be four of the Demon God Salsa Dark King's Vanguard and three of the Mechikabura final battle at hand. Um, I'm not entirely worried about Overlord in this deck, and I'll get to why in a bit. But this top five searcher warps top two from your deck to your warp, up to. You don't have to. So any demon realm race deck should be looking at this card because it's just awesome. You can grab your Meki SCR, or if you run any other demon realm race SCR, you can grab that as well.
Yeah, that card's
Um,
really good.
this guy, typical draw one, send two. The second effect no one ever uses because it costs three, but you can basically play your 8-drop from the bottom of your deck, which is it's come up like once in the entirety of I've ever played this deck, and it won me the game. However, 3 energy in black is almost suicide unless you're like, I need one more swing and I win. So
Gotcha, gotcha.
there's that. The next card to me is the bread and butter of this whole weird build I have. Mechikabura, the King Summons,
Okay.
4 of.
Yeah.
So what this card does is you tap two, you crit a life, and you're able to play two drop Demon Realm Race, Demon God, or Evil Wizard. Sorry, just Demon Realm Race or Evil Wizard from your deck. Um, and on turn two, that's pretty crazy, especially when you consider what we're playing off that. The first option we have, not a lot of people like this card in this deck anymore, but I do. You can play the. I should probably turn these that way. Haha. You could play the Shroom and Salsa Dark King's Vanguard. This is a 10k that draws you a card when it swings, and then it warps top two. That's only for if you want to awaken that way, just by milling. If you don't have any other option, if you're going first, it's kind of good because they're not awakened yet. Second option was this is a spicy
Oh
thing.
wow, this is an old
Demig.
draft box card, right?
Yes, it is. And I literally just scrolled through cards. I'm like, what can I play off this card? But this one is kind of amazing because whenever you play it, or sorry, whenever you attack with it, you can choose a two or less and send it to the warp, or you can mill two of yourself into your drop, which is the one I usually do. Or at the end of the turn, you can add up to one card from your left to your hand, and then bring it back to your hand. So just keep having it in your hand for a combo or whatever.
Interesting.
Um,
So you said you're mostly
yes.
milling two
So
with this to fill up your drop?
yes, yep. And we'll
Okay.
get to that in a second. The other option that I always play from it are
The
the promo
Toa.
Toas.
Okay, the Champak Toa. Talk about this.
Yep. So this card is stupid good, and I love it so much. You play it, it gains +5, and it doesn't even say from hand, so that's nuts. But you play it, you gain +5, it's critical, and then you get to warp whatever you want on play. Not ignoring barrier, but it's black, so what are you gonna do? Um, there's also a swap 3 target, which we'll get into in a bit, but this is some uber good turn 2 pressure right there. No one wants to deal with a 20k crit on turn 2, especially if you're going second.
Yeah, that's nice.
Um,
So
so from there,
you're usually starting your turn two by just swinging 20 crit, paying two for
yeah,
that guy
actually,
and playing, and it plays two bodies, right? So you're playing the
yes.
Toa plus something. That's pretty good.
We're swinging 6, 7 times on turn 2.
Oh geez.
Uh, so you tap two, you play this, you play these two things out right here. You warp something, you mill two. Whenever you tap two to play this, of course you're creating a life. That's 4 cards in your warp right there. So then you're swinging 15, 20 crit, and then you can go ahead and utilize your overwhelm package. Boom. These guys right here, the salsa, they came out of the most recent anniversary box.
Yeah.
Demon God Salsa Dark Royalty has a dual purpose in this deck, which is amazing. If you happen to mill it from your deck to your warp, you can draw a card, warp a card from your hand, and then mill another one. So it's warp control, stuff like that. The Overrealm ability on this is it's just a Demon Realm race version of Beyond All Limits. So you Overrealm 4, and you're able to you warp one from hand, you draw a card, and then you grab something back battle card back between 3 and 7 from your warp,
Very
which
nice.
is pretty powerful. And yeah, that's why we mill, so we can have the 4. It's another 20k swing on turn 2.
Got it. Okay.
Um, so then, what you're normally looking to add back from that sort of thing is one of these babies.
Nice. Okay. So three of
Yep. So you'll
these.
either have, yep, you have either have one of these in hand to start with, or you're looking for it with your top 5 searcher. Usually, you can get it. You cycle through your deck really fast in this deck. But this is how this card is just crazy now. When it came out, it wasn't as good, but now it's much better. That 2-drop Toa that I showed, it's gone now. We don't need it. Oh, here you are. This is a free swap. So
Yeah.
swap 3, swing, swap, 15k dual attacker. Boom.
Dual attack. Okay.
Um, that's 2 more swings, and then you also draw a card on play.
Very nice.
Um, Additionally, if you play this later in game and your opponent has a marker with or a unison with 4 or more markers on it, you can give them the option to either warp 2 cards, either from hand from field, or you gain control of that unison.
Oh wow.
Um, I've taken Boo Unisons before. Topo really, or not Topo, but Jiren really hates this card because I will work on board control, and either they have to warp 2 from hand, or I'm taking their special little unison.
Yeah, that's very nice. And as much as we're in like the Zenkai format, I feel like a lot of decks these days are not so much relying on, but they're definitely playing unisons. So it's a
Oh
very good
yeah,
meta call.
and with the new set coming out too, it's all Z unisons and stuff. It's
Yeah, so this is gonna be even
could
better.
still be very viable. There's a lot of board control in this deck, so I usually try to make it more hand controller than anything. But making them choose is pretty evil, and I love it. Um, we play 4 of the Salsa Stormclads. Um, if you have if a Shroom in your combo area, then you can tap one, warp 1, and then play it, and then your opponent has to warp 1 from hand, and then
Sweet.
you can
And
mill up to.
you can play this from warp as well, so you don't actually have to have it in
Yes,
hand. Yeah, this
exactly.
card's pretty nice.
And
And it's
yeah,
more
your
warp
opponent warps
control
them from
because you get
hand.
to put the cards in your warp that you want to have in your warp. Yeah.
Bingo. And that doesn't specify. You can send like whatever else you want in there,
Ooh.
which is pretty nice. I usually send copies of itself and just keep going around. And this is kind of the reason why I don't care about Overlord in this deck as much, because when it's on the field, it swings. It's a 20k because it's a 10k with Servant, um, and it stays there. But if your opponent feels like, I don't know what it is with people, and they're like, "Oh, it's a battle card. I'm gonna swing at it." I'm like, go for it. Like it's there. It's a dead card on field for me. Then it occupies my drop, and then it goes to my warp, and then I'll play it again. And like
Mm,
nice
True.
cards in hand, bro.
Yeah.
Um, so that is the salsa. We cut the shroom that came out with it out of the package because that thing sucked.
Yeah, the shroom, I think it could have been good if it had the effect on play, but it needed to swing to pop
Yes.
something, so it was just like, too much work, too little
Yeah.
payoff.
Play 4 of the new 6-drop. Um, Honestly, it's a really good card. You could basically play it if you have a shroom and salsa in your combo area. Which, if you're gonna combo with your 8-drop from the warp, that's a shroom and salsa target. This is also, you can do it from its with itself. 1 energy plays from warp. Pretty nice. When you swing, you can take up to 2 life uh, of yourself, and then you warp a card. Basically, a self awakener slash board control. I gotta tell you though, I never played this card once.
Really?
No, not once the entire time.
That's
And
wild.
uh, there was never a point where I felt like I needed to, because like, 2 Cooler Mill matches in a row, I'm not playing anything like at all. I'm going to play on your turn, make you warp cards from hand, and then combo the thing I just played.
Yeah.
That was my goal. And both those matches, they could not have comboed out of my last attack, but they were able to mill me out of uh, the last attack. So that kind of sucks. But anyways, it's also a salsa or shroom target to play your salsas.
Fair enough.
Um, and it's a 20k little beat stick, and then it has the second effect that you can pay one, ditch 3 of your Z energy, and awaken a turn earlier. Z awaken a turn earlier. Because normally you have to be at 2 to Z awaken with this deck, which kind of sucks.
Oh, so it lets you Z awaken at 3 life instead of 2.
Bingo. Yep.
Very nice.
Um, 3 of the 7-drop newcomers. It's
Barrier hate is good.
barrier removal.
Yep.
Yes, and we don't have a whole lot of good Z battle cards or Z cards in black right now, so I don't use the ones that Shroom and Salsa to the very end. So I'm usually hitting 7 or less, ignoring barrier for the longest time with this card.
Nice.
I don't I don't think it should go into every black deck because sometimes it could be a pain in the ass or a pain in the butt to set up. You combo with it, and then it goes, and then you have to do the whole thing. This card's at
Yeah,
hand, but this
setting it
card,
up
this
can be
deck,
weird. I feel like unless you're like
yes,
running it at 4 of in a deck that mills a lot, it can be tricky.
right. So with this, I mill it all the time, and I'm also able to grab it back with my Salsa Overrealm, which is kind of cool because I can just keep cycling them and
Got
then
you.
fill up my
Okay.
drop more. If you pay one, you play it. You grab one from the warp to tuck it underneath because it warp or drop.
Yep.
You swing with it on turn 4, goes back into the drop, goes back over here, recycle again, grab it again. So it's
And
just the never-ending story.
will you be able to turn it into like a double striker and everything, or is that locked to the food leader?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you
So
could
that's just
totally.
any black
Yeah.
leader can do that. That's really good.
Yep. So as long the requirement to play is you pay one black, you put a Cumbra underneath it, and then if you're at 4 more energy, when you swing, you ditch the card from underneath it, and it becomes double strike.
Very nice.
Um, I actually run this card in red hit as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because the skillless cumbers can be put into your drop pretty easily or played in that deck, and then you can have all sorts of cool black things in red hit. It's red black hit.
Oh jeez.
Um, one of this Broly. I was running the Vegeta Heated Fighting Spirit, but I feel like this has a double meaning to this deck as well. Not only is it an overrealm, warp something is a big 30k body, but I can play it from the warp.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Sometimes people are we're in floodgate meta. So I'm gonna swing once with something, and they're like Nimbus, and so there's not a whole lot I could do on my turn. So if I need to clear a board, and I've got like 4 freaking energy up, yeah, I'm gonna tap 2. And yeah, that thing can heck off. And I'm going to swing this 30k at something else, and then it'll stick around, and then it'll just keep getting cycled from there.
True, yeah, because if you
So
play
even though
it
it's,
from the warp, it's not gonna leave off Overrealm, so you just have a 30k they gotta deal with.
yes, sir.
Very
So
nice.
and it gets milled all the time too, and I don't have to worry about grabbing it back.
Yeah, I feel like this deck,
Um,
better than any other black deck, can control what goes into the warp. Like, if other black decks, if you draw something that you want in the warp, it can be really weird getting it in there, sequencing wise. But
yeah,
you just have
for
to, like,
sure.
swing with leader, warp the card. Easy enough. Or,
Yep.
I guess you need to warp a Demon Realm, but yeah, there's
But
ways.
most of the deck's Demon Realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways you can control specific things.
If you want to play that
Um,
Shroom, it doesn't care what you warp, right?
right.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Um, for the 8-drop, it it could be better, but this card's honestly kind of busted for a reason like how I play it. First of all, it's a 10k combo that you can use from your warp.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about the cost; it just says use it. So 25k attacks as your leader all the time. Then you Z charge it, you put it back in your drop, and you keep cycling them over and over again. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Um, the reason this card is such an MVP to me is that I love baiting U7. It is my favorite thing on the entire planet. I will control their board. They'll drop their 6-drop. They'll swing, and I'll counter because I'm gonna have energy up. They're floodgating me every turn. Um, the counter, and they're like, no, tap 3, counter, counter. And then they're going to dump hand on stuff, and then I'm going to tap 2, I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to smile at them. Because whenever. Because you combo 2, if there's 2 things in your combo area, you tap 2 black energy, and you play it. On play, your opponent has to warp 1 from hand and warp 1 from field, ignoring barrier. And then you have a 35k double striker out there.
Yeah, and they're when they play that 6 drop, it's usually the only thing they have on board. So
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I was never worried about U6 or U7 because I'm usually tricking them into warping their own boss monster. Because unfortunately, you don't get to choose what to warp when you play it, which is why it could
yeah,
be better. But there are ways that you can manipulate your opponent to where this will work in your favor. Um, 35k swing, double swing, and then you can play one again on your turn. It's So I'm usually playing these on my opponent's turn as well as those salsas. But I wish they had an SPR art. They did black so dirty. That's fine. The
next
super
collector's
combos I
binder
use.
maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe. The super combos I use are the evil Saiyan ones,
Ah, okay,
and it makes the most sense to me now because a lot of early aggro exists between Great Gohan, Jiren, Pan, and you're gonna want to get out of some swings. You don't quite want to die that fast. So it's an early super combo because I'm forced to Z charge my entire game. I'm always gonna have Z energy. Uh, so 2 or more Z energy. I'm sitting on like 6 usually, like plus. So it's an early super combo. Makes the most sense for the deck. It's not like I used to play the Salsa super combo, but it's 4 or less, 4 life or less. And yes, it was searchable, but I couldn't combo with that from the warp because it says non-super combo specifically.
gotcha.
So I figured why not? We'll just grab this super combo. I draw enough to where I see it, and then it's online early, and I can get out of early aggression attacks.
When you were running the salsa, did you find there were times you were at 5 or 6 life that you really wanted to be able to like push or defend?
Every single time.
Got it. Okay,
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah, defend especially. Because again, Black's defense isn't the
Yeah,
best,
you get
but we
like
have a pretty.
Red's tapping one to play surging attack Broly, and you gotta worry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and you know what though? Like you take those early crits because screw it, man. Like
Yeah, you play
you're
yourself
either
some
gonna
warp.
waste 3 cards in hand. Yeah, you're either gonna waste 3 cards in hand, or you're just gonna take 1 damage and be fine.
Yep.
And save the cards in hand. The only SCR to run any mill deck, Evil Saiyan.
Yeah.
People know it. People hate it. I don't think it's quite as bust as everyone thinks it is, but it is solid. 2 energy to play anything just sucks these days, but it does a lot for what it is. It can mill itself. I can control it going into the warp, of course, with my salsas and pretty much anything else that requires me to warp besides the leader. But yeah, I could put that there if I want to. I can play it as a surprise later. Helps the stupid floodgates. And yeah, it's the SCR for Mel decks especially.
You said you went
Um,
X4, so in your wins, did you find you were playing this most of the time to seal the game, or were you able to win without it?
Actually, I only played my SCR once throughout the entire
Wow.
nationals. Yep.
Okay. So you were just
Uh,
winning the battle of attrition, your deck outvalued theirs at the end of the day?
Pretty much.
Okay.
My the like I beat U7, I beat Blue Yellow Gogeta, Prismatic Bardock. That deck's probably the most telegraphed deck of all time. I don't see why people have trouble with it, but that's fine.
Prismatic Bardock? Because Dragon Ball players don't read
Yeah,
cards, and every card has a
I
paragraph
I
on
guess
it.
it's true. But like, you look at their energy, all you have to do, oh, you have a green up, you're gonna floodgate me this turn. Oh, you have a
Yeah.
red up, you want to counterplay me this turn. Oh, you have a yellow up. Oh, you have a blue up. They're gonna
Yeah.
probably play Peel Off Shu and Mai. It's like, what are you doing, people? Anyway, the the
Most
negate
broken
package or
card in
defense
black.
package. Yep, the best thing we have. Petrification. Of course, it's getting countered 99% of the time these days. But for those who don't have a counter, yes, I will make your life a living hell with this card. You You negate it, you choose something, you discard a card from hand. That thing can't activate skills or be comboed or do anything pretty much until the end of your next turn, which is pretty awesome.
And the fact that it
Um,
negates pending autos and is one of the only
yes,
cards in the game. I think the only card in the game that's able to do that is nutty.
I think there's one or two more, but yeah, this is the more common one.
Yeah.
The SCR killer. I love this
Yes,
negate,
such a
and
good card. And
it
this is
is.
live turn one
And
in your
it's
deck, isn't
turn damn one. Yep.
it?
So that's so fun. So if you don't know, it's you negate and it plays, and you warp something until the end of your opponent's turn. Um, and it comes back with its skills negated, so they don't get on play autos or anything like that. But it's you can make it cost one if you or your opponent have three or more in their warp. So that's happening. That's alive.
And if you hit a Z
Two of
card
the
or a
Oh
secret
yeah,
rare with it, it's just removed. It's not gonna come back.
gone forever. That's why it's the SCR killer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, two of the black Gohan rares. Um, for a deck that likes to mill. I mean, it's a get out of jail free card. You can't counter that. It's an auto. So it has two effects. For those who don't know, you can combo with it, pay one Z charge, and warp something for less from your opponent's field, which is pretty nice. But then, if it's in your drop or your warp, you can use its auto for free to take a life and play it in rest mode, and it'll negate whatever attack without actually saying negate or counter. So it
Yeah, it
negates the
doesn't
attack
have
without
green
countering.
text, so it can't be countered.
Right, but it only works on battle card swings. So if you're trying to get out of a leader swing, sorry, bro, it doesn't work.
Fair enough.
Um, of course, we got the two support the Dark Empire, token negates, and then two super Ks,
Yep.
and that's the entire defense pack. It's like black dot deck right
Yeah.
there.
Pretty much. So that's the whole main deck.
That's
Um,
the whole main deck.
I like it. I feel like more than any other black deck I've seen, you have a lot of ways to disrupt your opponent.
Absolutely. That was my whole goal. And my some of my side deck choices are pretty spicy as well. I think you'll like that.
All right,
Um,
let's. So you want to do the side deck or the Z deck first?
Here's the Z deck
All
first,
right,
just
cool.
because it's part of the main. Of course, you've got the Z leader.
Yep.
It's a 20k double striker. It doesn't draw and swing, which kind of sucks, but it combos with two from the warp. So if you're at two life or less and you pay one black and three Z energy, then you can awaken into this beast. But at that time, you're about dead anyway. It kind of sucks, but it does come in clutch a lot, and I did win two of my games with this card. So um, you swing, you combo with two, and that could be two 10Ks, man. So it's a
Yeah.
20, 30, 40K double strike swing just from the leader. It also has an activate. Also, the permanent's gone. You don't have to get rid of cards anymore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and also has an activate main. You can ditch a Z energy. Look at the bottom card of your deck, and if it is a Shroom or Salsa, energy cost of 3 and Servant, you can just play it.
Got it.
So
Okay.
I'll play this. Hey, warp another one from hand. Good job.
So you
The
said you only played your Cumber Seeker rare once. Do you think there's an argument to be
mhm.
made for trying Bursting Rage in here, even with the risk of milling it?
I feel like the risk outweighs the possibilities.
Fair enough.
Um, anybody that played black before Evil Saiyan was a card knows the pain of milling your SCR and just being like, oh, there goes my pan, there goes my Supreme Kai of Time. Well,
Yeah.
there's that.
Like
So
I'm not tapping
any
two
mill
for
deck.
power overseeing time to get that back.
No, that is so annoying. I hated running that card.
And then you mill your copy of power overseeing time, and it's like, oh.
Yes, every time, every damn time. But
Mill two
no, the
cards.
only
It's this
correct choice.
Trunks and the secret rare. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put this over here. I'm gonna like highlight it with this dice. Don't play any card but that card if your deck mills. We're just
Yeah.
gonna keep. If you have that ever have that question, just look over there. Um, one copy of the first Kamehameha. Mighty Blast. It's all right. It's free for whatever you want to do. The first effect or the second effect. So it's not getting 15k and negging your stuff 25, but you can warp. I believe it's a 5 or less. I never used the bottom one, but yeah, 5 or less. You can do that one. You get plus if you drop 3 Z
Three?
energy. The
Okay.
first one you just yeah, the first one you just drop 1 and then you get plus 10k, and you can actually move 3 cards from your warp to your drop, so you
Oh,
fill
that's
up for an
nice.
overwhelm.
Did
Yeah, and it's
you play this very often, or was this just something like, oh, I have nothing else to do? Let me do this.
I played this all but 2 games,
Okay.
just for a defensive kind of thing, and one of them was for an extra push. Because I had a 40k double strike leader, and then I made it 50, and then I filled up my overwhelm. So,
Sweet.
yep, pretty solid. Running 2 copies of the Toa.
Ooh, what does she do?
Um, she is another way you can play out your really cool um, promo Toa. So if your leader's the Demon Realm race, you can bottom deck 1 from hand and play a 2-drop with swap. And you play it, and then it's there. So it's
Wow.
basically you play it for 1. Again, 20k crit. You swing, then you swap into the Toa, swing twice. It's just a loop. And the thing is with this card, I only run it at 2 because the first time I play it, I search it out, and then I swap it, and then it's in my hand.
Yeah, you just have it
Um,
for the whole game now.
if you run a unison, this card's even more busted because you pay 1 spirit boost 1, and then you basically give whatever demon realm race is attacking plus 15k and double strike. It's
Oh
a
wow.
Champa for Demon Realm. Yeah, it's a super good card. But yeah, that's how we play that. It
And that's
also
one
makes
energy,
your
2Z. So pretty
correct.
cheap. You do that like turn 3 probably?
Sometimes it's very like situational, depending on if I'm wanting to push, if I have the right things in hand. It's just the option. It also turns on your super combo as well if you don't have
Oh,
enough
because
Z
you have a
energy.
Z battle card in play. Yeah.
Exactly, and it only has deflect, no barrier. It's black. We don't have protection.
Yeah.
Um, this card is stupid. I love it. Um, It's
I
the
can't believe they
SS4 Sun
printed this card.
Goku.
It's so
I'm super
nuts.
happy. So, yeah, you tap 1, 2 Z energy. It basically does the same thing Boo does, except for it can turn into a double striker.
Yeah.
You
25
play it,
double
you warp
striker.
something. Yeah,
A big old boy.
it's a Z card version of thwarting.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I play it, remove 10, which you're gonna have 10. It's gonna be there. Um, 25 double border removal, just solid card.
I've lost many games to that card. That is a very strong card.
And then Tubu, because we don't like you having a field.
Yeah.
We like blockers and 25k swingers. This card actually wins me more games than this card does. Kind of crazy.
Ah, okay.
Um, I like to use it for a last push a lot. 1 energy left. Let's go. Yep, that's the Z deck.
All right. Let's get into the side.
This side, all right. So we had to cover most of our bases, and then of course I made one itty bitty mistake. We'll go over that in a bit. Um, 2 Protector of the People. It's like the one floodgate we have that doesn't cost 2 energy and can't be counterplayed. Um, basically, you swing or they swing, you negate the attack. You can pitch 1 from hand, and then every time they swing with a battle card from then on, you get plus 5k. So good against Jiren, good against Pan. That's or early aggro, deck spammer, or yeah, just board spammers. That's kind of what went in against that. MVP. Love this freaking card. Rebellion
Okay.
Hammer, man. So this can counterplay the U7 4-drop with barrier.
Ah, very nice.
Yes, or it can counterplay anything 20k or less. So the Android 21 Z battle card, the any of those problematic cards.
What's the criteria
Essentially,
to reduce it?
you have to have 50 or 12 or more black cards in your warp.
Ah, and you can do that.
Yes. There's also another criteria that's kind of hard to meet in a lot of decks, that you have to be able to send 3 from your drop to your warp. Um, Usually after turn 2, I will have things in my drop because I have overwhelm 4s. So unless I'm running overwhelm 3s, I'm not gonna try. So it's usually I have exactly 3 to send. And I don't even mind tapping 2 for it
Yeah.
because, like, again, you get floodgated all the time, and it's either tap 2 for this or let them just have fun with your life. So that usually ruins an entire turn, and I love it.
Yeah, very solid metal call there. I don't think many players thought about that.
They should have, but I just study black cards all the time, so I'm probably just a nerd. Extra petrification because it's busted. You have to have it. Sometimes green Gohan, U7, all those things. You just side extra petrification.
Yeah.
Um, Finn. Oh, I love
Finn.
this card.
Okay. The board
So
wipe.
yes, Jiren hates this card so much because they build up all this stuff,
Oh
and then you're like,
no.
well, choose one. All right, the rest of it can go bye bye. Jiren, Pan, all that, and then that's
That's
how I usually set
wild.
up. Yeah, so that he was for Jaren. Unfortunately, during my Nationals game against Jaren, I did not see this card, which, maybe the game could have gone a little bit smoother for me. But um, Finn's Finn, and it's worked for Jaren before. And yeah, speaking of Jaren, has nothing to do with the deck, but Jaren,
Yeah,
um,
you gotta have
you
it.
gotta have it. You can't keep your can't get caught with your pants down against blue stupid ass ramp stuff. Excuse my language.
No, you're good.
Um,
You need one or two in every side deck. I feel like until Tide gets addressed or until ramp is just non-existent, you
yeah.
gotta have the one at least.
Yeah, we run two because Ramku was sounding very scary at the time. Um,
And you do mill, so you
Also,
you want to be able to mill one and still have one.
exactly. Also, it's kind of cool to side in against Expert Deck 21 because when they super combo you, then you can just pay two and not
Fair?
just draw a card instead. Yeah, just why not? Two Black Smoke because green exists. Um, Another card I actually side in against Android 21, the Expert Deck one,
Yeah.
because I can draw and it's a draw engine for that. So basically, green unison hate and drawing against Android 21, or just random barrier removal that I don't have. Speaking of green, you got Deborah's. Um, the greatest thing about this card is that it's searchable in this deck. It's also I can grab it back, and so I can keep doing that over and over again.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, Demon Realm Raise, baby.
That's really good. Wow.
Yep. So another Deborah that I can search and grab back is this
Oh
one.
my god. I love this card.
Yep, counterplay for two. Basically, the card plays and it's useless. So
Petrification on
that's
legs.
yep, it's true. But I will say this is where I think I messed up.
Why do you
Um,
say that?
well, the thing is, in what I used to run instead of these were two Mira unisons.
Mirror.
Um,
Oh, that would have helped against Cooler Mill, huh?
yes, they wouldn't have been able to mill me out had I been swinging 120k from a unison. Because of all those cards in your warp, it gains 5k for every single card in your warp, which is kind of bonkers.
So it's the one
Um,
drop mirror unison, the one where the plus one's like warp a card, draw a card.
yep, and
Yeah.
you have warp control. It's the perfect unison for this deck actually. And then on top of that, I can use the spirit boost and pay one from the 2-drop Toa
Oh, so you
to
have
give it double strike.
Choppa.
Yep,
What?
yeah. So,
That's sick.
yeah, there's a whole lot of really cool little techs you can do in this deck. But I chose this just because I did not want to deal with certain cards that got played, like Beast Gohan or just like those big things.
Yeah.
But that was a mistake, and I am paying for that. But that is fine. It's still a fun little tech I threw in there.
So
But that is the side deck.
other than the Deburras, are there any changes you'd make? Are there any consistency pieces you feel like you wanted to see more of, or any little tweaks?
No, actually, there's not a damn thing I would change about this deck right now.
Okay.
Um, I would. A lot of people would argue for Koetsukai, and that would have helped against Cooler as well. However, getting stuff in your drop on purpose is actually really hard to do in this deck.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like it's a
Um,
Demon Realm race. You get to combo back into your Z energy and stuff.
for sure. Yep, and it's I can't just combo it and then put it to my drop. That doesn't work in this deck. I literally have to Z charge it, then I have to play
Yeah.
something,
Oof.
which makes it harder, yeah, for my cumbers to remove the stuff. It's just a pain in the ass. So at that point, you just play on your opponent's turn and then hope for the best.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. 5-4. I guess congrats on a winning record at Nats with a
Hey, thanks.
completely
Yeah.
off meta deck.
Yes,
Anybody
and
you'd
no
like to
cooler
shout
no.
out before we wrap things up?
Of course, my team defied TCG out of Springfield, Missouri. Um, like to give a shout out to all the people I play on Vegeta, Saiyan Army, and the Hermit style podcast. Did a lot of grinding against them. Um, and I would say to everyone that if you don't have to play a meta all the time, it just matters in how you play the decks you have. This is set 18 Shroom and Salsa, and I will take on any meta deck, I promise.
Love that, love that, and yeah, mad respect to all the off meta players. Like all you're doing when you play off meta is making a choice that you got to try a little harder than the guys playing meta.
Bro, I gotta tell you, I confuse the crap out of people all day with this deck,
I
and
love
not a
that, the
single one
turn
of
two
them.
aggro into just like turn
Yes,
3 and 4 total control. That's
nothing.
sick. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. There's not a single game I played that day that felt like got destroyed. It all came down to like super close games. So I'm not mad about the X4. I think it could have been better had I had that Mira unison, and that's it.
Lessons learned. Well, thank you again for your
Yep.
time. Yeah, we'll wrap things up there. Thank you so much.
You got it, bro.